Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Change is crazy. So I know that you all know that I did my 1-year challenge, and I wanted to come back on here and do another video because a few of you mentioned that you have more than just one goal, which of course, you know, there's several things that we want to work on in life, and that one was just kind of more so for something that you've always wanted to do, that you always just kind of think like, oh, what if that would happen, but you never really go for it. That's what the 1-year challenge is about, for doing something that you ordinarily wouldn't do. But we do goal setting all the time throughout the year, and usually what I like to do is I'll do a lot of it at the beginning of the year. And I know that's kind of cliche. I'll set myself kind of like resolutions, but just more like little goals, and I'll categorize them, and then I'll work on them throughout the year and kind of check in with myself monthly to see where I'm at as far as my goals are concerned. So I wanted to come on here and kind of share some of the different strategies and stuff that I use when I'm setting my goals, because I really feel like they'll be useful. And I also created another free printable for you guys to download, and this one will help you to organize multiple goals. So not just the 1-year challenge goal. This one will be for several different things you have going on in your life, and we'll kind of outline how that works and how you'll get to the point on the worksheet where you'll be able to fill them out and really start making them happen. So let's go ahead and get started. So like I mentioned, this is going to be for people who are working on multiple areas of their life and they want to be able to goal set and set it up for different categories. So it could be health and fitness, it could be relationships, it could be healthy eating, or working on a business, your home. Maybe you have like a really cool DIY project you're trying to work on at home. I really look at it like little individual projects that you work on, and this is a way to kind of organize all of them and be able to set up steps to make them happen. So whether you're in school or you work or you're a stay-at-home mom, full-time job, whatever the case is, there's going to be a little bit of something for everybody, because we all can work on making ourselves better, and we all can work on setting up a better goal setting system, because it's the only way sometimes that things will really happen. So the first step, I actually mentioned it in the 1-year challenge video, and I called it the brain dump. And this is one of my favorite things to do, because it just gives you a chance to just clear your mind out and get everything on paper, and just you can visibly see the things that are on your mind. So this is all of your stressors and just the different tasks that are kind of just going around in your mind, and you just never really get them done. It could be something as small as maybe finding a new veterinarian for your dog, or it could be a major task. You know, you're trying to maybe finally start the apartment search for when you move, or whatever the case is. We all have these different tasks that we know we have to do, but for some reason we just cannot seem to get ourselves together to get them started. It's basically just a piece of paper. It's got a whole bunch of lines on it, and you just literally write down everything that's on your mind. Don't hold back, and just keep writing until you literally can't think anymore. So you might end up with maybe 10 tasks, you might end up with 45, you know, whatever the case is. Write all of it down, because the more that you have, the easier it'll be to do the next step. So after you write everything down, it may be kind of overwhelming, because I know that a lot of us can have a lot of things on our mind and a lot of things that stress us out, but you know, that's what makes us human, and that's what's great about this process, because after you do that, you're going to categorize everything. So what I like to do is kind of color code everything. So once I get everything written down for my brain dump, I'll go ahead and I'll pick out maybe like 5 or 6 colors, and each color will represent a different category in my life. So I might have things for like my personal relationship with my husband, I may have some work goals, business goals, health and fitness goals. As you start to write things down, you'll start to notice themes within your brain dump, so you'll know kind of what categories you're going to work on. You may have 4 categories. I would say you really don't want to have more than 6, just to keep it simple. You don't want to overwhelm yourself, but 3 or 4 is really even a good number as well, but 6 is fine. Say just go ahead and you can use a highlighter, highlight everything out, or you can just put little dots next to them, whatever it is, just to show the category. You can bullet point and write each one next to it, or you can do it on a separate sheet of paper, and for each category you'll write down everything on it. However you choose to categorize it, this is a huge and important part, because you want to see, okay, what do I really need to work on, and why do I have 10 things under health and fitness. Like maybe there's something I need to change or I need to do. And so that's kind of how you get to the next step, because you want to be able to prioritize and kind of figure out what's a little bit more time sensitive and what are things that you feel like you really want to get started on right away. Everything's important because it's your goals, but you also want to make sure that you're not trying to do too much at one time. So when I prioritize, I like to think about what would I feel great about if I could just finally cross it off my list. So that's how I kind of start prioritizing. So maybe, for example, I mentioned it earlier, trying to find a veterinarian for my dog. We had him at one place, but we need to find a new veterinarian, and it's something that I've been meaning to do for a while now. So if I could cross that off my list and actually make it happen and set up an appointment, that would actually be a really great first task. And so that's kind of how you start to prioritize. And so that I kind of consider to be my home category, because it's just different things that I want to do just kind of directly with my home life. So I do have some other things as well, like the office that I'm in right now, which you guys can't see it. There's mess everywhere because I'm trying to reorganize it. And so that's another thing. I really want to get that done. And if I could get that organized and get this office completely set up, not only would it just be the perfect place to be inspired, but also it's just something that would just de-stress me as well. And so this is how you kind of prioritize. Start to think about, what would make me happy if I could finally take a big marker and just cross it off my list and be done with it. And that's how you get started with prioritizing. And so one of my favorite goal setting systems is the SMART goals. I believe these were created by George Duran. So SMART goals is 5 different steps to create goals. And I love doing this. And it's just kind of almost natural that you just do this anyway, but it's nice that you have a system to follow and to make sure that you are touching on all these points as you prioritize. So you want to make sure that your goals are specific. Be honest with yourself. I mean, what is it that you want to do? Write it down and be specific exactly why you want to do it. And, just really get in tune with yourself of why you want to do these things and why you want to accomplish them. And sometimes it's just to have a peace of mind and just to be able to cross it off the list, and that's okay too. Also want the goals to be measurable as well. You want to be able to set times with yourself and to be able to check in, so there's always a way for you to just see how your progress is going, if that makes any sense. So what I always like to do, I like to check in with myself about once a month just to see if I'm on track. But even weekly sometimes with certain things will really help to just make sure that I'm on track. So the perfect example is with this 1-year goal challenge. I'm literally going in my journal every few days, and I'm kind of checking in with what I wrote down that I wanted to do for the week. And definitely every Sunday, I'm making sure that I was able to cross off a few things. And if for some reason I wasn't able to get to it, you move it to the next week. But this allows you to stay on track with yourself. So you want to be able to just make sure that you're kind of measuring out your goals. And the best way that I find to do that is to be able to just check in with yourself to when you see fit. The next thing, which is one of my favorite parts of this, is to make sure that they're attainable. Because, we can have all of these big dreams and everything like that, but if you're just looking at the end game of it, then it's kind of hard for you to be able to really focus on what you need to do. And so what I mean by that, for example, I wanted to start an Etsy shop last year. And so it was really difficult for me. I wasn't sure where I really wanted to begin in my journey of trying to get the shop started. And so one of the first things that I did was just write down what I needed to do to actually get my shop open. A good 5 months of research and looking into it, but it was certain things that I wanted to find out before I even opened my shop. So I was good to go. So that's just something you want to write down. Write down a couple of things that you want to get started. Those first few tasks are going to be what will set you up to be able to reach that bigger goal that you have. And so my big goal was starting an Etsy shop. So I wanted to be able to, kind of research and check out the competition and some different type of photography techniques as far as products and different things like that. This was all stuff that I wanted to kind of have under my belt prior to starting a shop. So think about what you can do to make sure that your goal is attainable. What small tasks can you do to get started? And then kind of hand in hand is also make sure that the goals are realistic, because at the same time, we have to kind of be okay with where we are. You want to be blessed and grateful with where you are currently in your life. And so sometimes we can't get to that goal right away. So if maybe you need a huge amount of money to be able to get something started, and you're not quite sure whether or not you'll be able to get that just yet, maybe it's not the most realistic thing right at this time, but in the meantime, make it attainable. So what can you do to get to that point that may seem kind of like a bigger picture right now, but you will eventually get there. I promise that anything that you set your mind to, you can achieve. And so it may not be realistic at this time, but as you grow and as you work on your tasks, anything can pretty much be a reality. And then make sure that it's timely. When do you want to have this done by? Just like I was mentioning in the 1-year challenge video. And I know that I've been referencing that a lot, but because it's so true and it just fits with so many different things, you want to make sure that you have a time frame of when you want to have this done by. Do you want to give yourself a year to finish this? Or do you want to get this done this month? Or is this just something you want to work on for this week? Every single goal that you write down will actually be tied to something timely. Everything should be able to have an end game on it. Everything should have, okay, this is when I want this done by, and actually stay true to that. I really like to use that 5-step system anytime I'm setting my goals, and I think that it's a great way for you to get started in your goal setting. And so to me, the next thing to really do is just get started. And that means go ahead, write your stuff down in your planner or your journal, or put it in your calendar on your phone. Whatever it is that you do to make sure that you're keeping up with things, just treat it like any other event. Treat it like it's a meeting. Treat it like it's a doctor's appointment. Start incorporating your goals into your everyday life. And so if you use your phone to kind of stay on top of everything you have together, then you should have parts on your calendar that say, start researching Etsy shop, or call around for veterinarians. Those are mine, but whatever yours are, put them into your life. If you use a planner, same thing. Start writing it into whatever your planning setup is, however you plan. Make sure you incorporate those goals in there, and that's the only way that you'll get it done. That's how you make it happen. So I hope that you guys learned a little bit from this video, and I hope that you will get started on some of your goals for your life, because there's so many things that we want to do to accomplish and get done, and I just feel like the only way to do it is to set yourself up for success. Don't forget to look at the free printable and fill it out completely. Definitely remember to check in with yourself as well, because that's one of the most important things you can do. Make sure you're on task and make sure that you are progressing. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Download the free printable. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.